everyone's here. Call to order the meeting of the Asset Planning Board for June 5th, 2024. Roll call attendance, please.
Clark Brewer here.
Tom Callahan here.
Amy Glassmeyer here.
Kevin Hine here.
Deirdre Hobson here.
And you saw Cassandra's memo, 26 Lambert's Lane.
Yeah.
We just have our continued hearing on 149 King Street. I'm not at home, but at home I wrote notes down of conditions that we agreed with the applicant last time. I hope people remember what some of them were. It was about the window and the lighting and other things, but
I
anyway.
think they made some changes.
Okay, are they here yet, Cassandra? Or do we have any minutes we can get out of the way?
You don't have any minutes.
Okay.
But Adam's here. There's the rest of his team here as well.
Can't really hear you. Cassandra.
There seems to be a problem of communication.
Yeah, your sound
Can you hear-
staticky.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
I can.
there you go.
Okay.
Thank
Having
you.
problems with my microphone. Adam is here. You don't have any minutes. And the rest of Adam's team is here. Did you want me to promote them as well, Adam?
Yes, would you please promote Jesse Morgan, Dan Ketches, and Jan Bryan?
Yes, I can do that.
Oh, God, I'm tired, I'm sorry, I'm tired, long day. I'm waiting on FedEx at my office, I can't believe this. All right, Adam, you have the floor whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Good evening, and we'll do our best to make this quick. I'm a local attorney representing the applicant PSI Atlantic Acquisition 8 LLC. I'm joined this evening by Jesse Morgan, our Senior Vice President with PSI, Dan Ketches, our professional engineer with BHP, and Jan Bryan, our architect, Michael Parker Studios. Since the last public hearing on May 15, we provided revised plans which addressed the two outstanding issues. First, we revised the design of the retaining wall so it does not exceed 3 feet in height within the side yard setback in compliance with section 300-5.4D. And we also added a wooden fence on the top adjacent to the driveway as a safety precaution. And two, we revised the floor plans to show a faux hallway without lighting on levels 2 to 4 to eliminate any concern regarding interior lighting being visible from outside the building. And we hope that addresses both of the outstanding concerns. And I do want to remind you that PSI agreed as a condition of approval to make a good faith effort to work with MassDOT to permit an off-site sidewalk along King Street. And that was going to be a condition of approval. So we're available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay, excuse me, Clark, I'll start with you.
It sounds like they addressed the issues that were brought up before. So I did take a look at the revised drawings and I have no further comments.
Okay. Amy?
I apologize for not being in attendance to the previous meeting in which there was a discussion about the items, including lighting of the outside building. So if it would not be too bothersome, I would appreciate just being re-informed of that decision with my assumption that it follows with what we were expecting and hoping would occur.
Chair Callahan, do you want me to address that?
Yeah, if you could briefly.
Just very
if you don't mind.
briefly.
Yeah.
Mr. Hine brought to our attention the fact that the existing storage building down the street has interior lights that are visible from outside the building. And so in response to that, we eliminated that condition.
Thank you. Then I would just simply ask does that comport with what my colleague, Mr. Hine, feels is the path that would make the most sense, based on his original discussion?
So I would add that the applicants also made design changes in location of lighting and illumination at those locations, with posts back further away from the state highway, and ensuring that all the fixtures were downward facing and of appropriate illumination. I'll let the applicants speak to that. Those were covered in the previous call. Adam, you might have a better summary of that, but I recall that was covered. One issue I would like to hear addressed too, and it may have come out at the tail end of our previous discussion, was illumination or not of exterior signage. Whether it would be on the building and illuminated in some way, or off the building and illuminated. I don't recall a discussion on that. I know with the existing, that comparable structure, again, it's not a part of this application. It's not a part of your client's portfolio here, but as a bad example of not how to put signage and have it be illuminated from behind in this case. So Adam, you might have more details on those.
Thanks, Mr. Hine. You summarized the lighting changes. Thank you very much for doing that. With respect to the sign, it will be permitted separately and will comply with all of the town requirements.
Excuse me, Mr. Brodsky, could you express directly when you say the town's requirements, so that I know what is the difference between what was a negotiated outcome and what was something that would be expected?
Ms. Glassmeyer, I'm not familiar with the sign requirements this evening, but
Okay,
the town has very
that's fine.
specific sign requirements. There's a permit process with the building department, and we have to comply with those requirements.
I think they have to be backlit. This came up with when Stop and Shop was built years ago. Stop and Shops in a lot of places have a bright red neon sign or self-illuminated sign, and what we have is a backlit maroon, backlit on maroon letters, and that's the town's requirement.
All right, thank you.
That's for anything that's on the building, and I believe we also prohibit, any kind of neon or lit sign, standing on a pole, so.
Thank you.
I think we can, on a pole sign, I believe, spotlights, but you can't have a big, glow in the dark thing, so.
One of the other things that was covered on the previous meeting, I might add, was the site would be ready, or the building would be constructed in a way that it was ready for possible future solar voltaic systems. But that was not a part of the applicant's package now, but it would be an option in the future based on how it would be constructed so that the roof would be able to withstand those loads. Is that my correct recollection of how it was presented in the previous meeting?
Mr. Hine, that's correct. The building is going to be designed and will be constructed to accommodate solar in the future.
And is that cited on the plans as such, or would that be a condition that would need to be identified and outlined in the condition?
I'll defer to Dan Ketches to answer that if he can.
That's not noted on the site plans. I'm not sure if it's on the architectural. It's probably not at this level.
We can make it a condition.
This is Jan Bryan. We can certainly show that. I don't have it on the plans at this level of design, but certainly if that wants to be a condition, that would be consistent with what we'll do once structural engineering is engaged.
Yeah, we can make that a condition, because Cassandra, if you can make a note of that when we get to this. All right, Kevin, you got anything else? You want to ask?
Not having seen the plans, can you just show what that fence looks like at the top of the retaining wall, or is it termed something else if it's limited in height now? You mentioned a fence at the, or your council mentioned a fence at the top of a feature.
Yep, no, that's it's still called a retaining wall. We don't have a detail for that quite figured out yet, but it's intended to be a solid wood type panel type fence.
I believe that we intend to use a 6-foot wood stockade fence.
And there's town requirements with regard to fencing, and that fits into that height requirement, I believe, of a materials basis. I'm not sure if there's any specifications on that.
Yeah, Mr. High, I believe it's no taller than 6 feet.
I didn't have any further questions or comments.
Deirdre?
I don't have any further comments. Thank you.
Okay. Neither do I. Do we have anybody in the audience, Cassandra?
I don't believe you have anybody in the audience, but I did have a question. Amy, did you say that you missed the meeting on the 15th?
No, what I indicated was, well, that's a good question.
Or that you just missed some information during the meeting?
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm that you hadn't
Yeah.
missed the meeting. Got it.
No,
Okay,
I misrepresented my presence at the meeting.
No problem. No problem. Just wanted to confirm.
there are 2 attendees in the audience. Was part of your team. I guess, well, yeah, Matt Keeley's with Dan's company. Mr. Weldon, I'm sure, is part of your team, so. All right, I'll entertain a motion on this site plan review. Like I said, I made some notes about conditions. It was things we discussed at the last meeting, agreed to, so Adam, I don't, if you see things we didn't discuss tonight, it's just because I don't happen to be at home where I left my notes on this, so.
No, I understood. Thank you.
All right, appreciate that. All right, then entertain a motion to approve the site plan review with conditions that have been discussed over the last 2 meetings.
So moved.
Second,
Thank you. Any further discussion about it? If not, alphabetical roll call, all in favor?
Clark Brewer, aye.
Tom Callahan, aye.
Amy Glassmeyer, aye.
Kevin Heine, aye.
Deirdre Hobson, I.
Okay, good. You got in just under the wire, Adam, because we eliminated this zoning district the other night, so the legacy of the technology business district will be 2 storage units. So much for technology business.
But thank you. I'm going to have to study up again on the Cohasset zoning code.
Yeah, no, we just, we went back on 3A to just make it simple and go back to 1 commercial district, and that's also where we put our MBTA district. A lot simpler. It'll be a lot simpler and easier to work with. Anyway, thank you for your cooperation
Thank
in
you.
this. Appreciate that you came for a couple of meetings and had to deal with this, but we're all set and we'll get that decision to you as soon as we can.
Thank you. Good night.
All right,
Thank
night.
you. Looking
Good
forward to
night,
it.
everyone.
Thank you all.
All right. Everyone knows Monday night we had all the 7 articles pass. They were all unanimous, except for the MBTA one. There was a smattering of opposition. Heard an interesting story about, NPR, the local NPR, WBUR had a show about that act today, and still some of the grumblings. And I guess the Healy administration is coming up with yet another housing plan. So we'll see, but we were town, according to the tally Judy Barrett shared with me, we were town number 71. That's past it. I think we're the last one for the spring go around, and everybody else will address it in their fall town meeting, including the ones who have defeated it so far. They're going to have to deal with it in the fall. But I appreciate everyone's help on that and support. I was surprised we got reached at 8 o'clock. It went smoother and quicker and earlier than I thought. But, you know, I will be circulating a memo shortly about what's on tap for the fall. The fall is, the intent is to finish what's left with the bylaw in the fall. With the possible exception of anybody in the world wants to come up with new, absolutely new initiatives on climate change and resiliency, those will be in the future. But the hope is to finish everything up with the reorganization. I'm meeting with the subcommittee of the Alternative Energy Committee to go over the proposed changes to the wind and solar articles next Monday. So, you know, what we'll do with the bylaw committee, I need to discuss with the select board. You know, David will become another select board member. I don't know if Jack's going to continue. Cassie is pretty much stepped aside, so we may have to solicit some new members for the last go round. We can't have a quorum of this board, or I'd ask one of you guys to come to join in, but we'll take care of that when I get to it. Anything else that anyone wants to discuss?
Ask a question, because I'm getting asked and I feel very ignorant. Maybe I've been out of the loop. What is
Okay.
going on with Cassie's project in the village? Is it gonna happen or not happen? Is she selling it?
I have not
Have you
heard,
guys heard anything?
no, I have not heard definitively what they're going to do there. I heard they were in financial distress or can't get the financing for it. I think
Yeah.
that's, you know, that's what's held up. I think Atlantica going slower than it did. I think it's held up Beechwood project. And if you don't know on that score, Lily Sestito came to the select board, I guess, a week or two ago to get their support for grant funding that she's going for to help fund that project. So, you know, that's why
That's good.
that.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
other
that project has
project.
stalled, you know, since they did site clearing work, but so she's going for some type of grant program.
Right,
And
well, she
select
should,
board-
if you talk to her, Tom, at all, she should probably talk to the neighbors, because I'm hearing a lot of irritation on the neighbors' parts.
Oh.
You know, that she's not communicating with the neighborhood, I guess, and they're all,
Yeah, with
Got it.
its, I mean, the site is stripped and not, you know, the dust,
yeah.
you know, there are all kinds of things, and the building is still there as a potential hazard, but the select board supported that, so we'll see. I mean, that one is
Okay.
that one is gonna get close to its deadline of the permit soon, so. But back to the gas station, I haven't heard
Yes.
anything other than it's dead, but I haven't confirmed that they have filed bankruptcy or done anything. I just hear it's dead in the water at this point, so
Okay,
no idea what their plans are. You know, Cassie hasn't communicated anything to me. I certainly could ask, I
Okay.
suppose, but.
okay,
um,
thank you, that's
know.
good enough.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it would be interesting to hook them up with some other property owners in the village nearby, but, you know, I
Now-
think,
now that
I
we-
think a lot of big developments are running in, you know, in all the towns, they're running into
Financial, yeah.
slowdowns, and that's affecting everything.
Now that my printed zoning bylaw is completely beyond repair,
Yeah,
being updated,
yeah.
it would be
I'm-
useful for me because I use the paper version.
I'm
to
gonna
get
put
a-
that together, yeah, I'm gonna
A
put
new
together,
updated through Monday's town meeting.
yeah, I'm going to do that. A lot, I of course have everything that I've done in the last 2-3 years on Word. But
Do
with
you send your files to the
well, the past
Eco
article,
people?
no, the articles that passed, like Article 4 and 5 last fall, and, you know, so I want to just make sure that what's left on my computer is still the final version that went to town meeting. So I might have to do some cutting and pasting of PDFs, what actually was on the warrant, and then what we have. There was an appendix that was handed out at the meeting when we did the reorganization and consolidating articles into sections of new articles. I did a whole appendix to show people what it would look like. And Cassandra and I talked about this, and we just have to go through it and make sure all the district names that we changed are amended. So it'll all be fairly easy to put together. The other thing I want to mention though, too, with all the reorganization is still the idea of having a single volume of all town land use regulations. And I have to reach out to council and town manager about how that's accomplished. I think it's just a question of all the boards just buying into it. And again, that's all been laid out in a format.
It would be useful to have an updated current paper copy, but it would also be useful to have like a single PDF that,
Yeah, all right, Cassandra and
you
I
know,
will
it
work on
takes
that.
the E-code 360 people a while to do the updates.
No, I anticipated
Sometimes
this a lot. Yeah, no,
faster,
I
sometimes
anticipated that
not.
we would have to create our own paper version before 360 catches up with it. But like, for example, some of the things we passed at the fall town meeting in Article 4 did not get accepted by the Attorney General. One small thing about the solar recharge stations being free or something. So we just got to make sure we have everything up to date and accurate before I compile that. But I just need a little slow time to do it. Just so far, June's been really busy, so I'll get it. I'll get it to you. My paper version is ratty and torn, and it's time for it to be retired and recycled. Make sure you recycle all your old paper.
I always have to put in the tape on the 3 holes because they always pull out and usually go back in the right spot.
Yep. Okay. So anything else? I've heard no other rumors of development or anything. I think Atlantica is moving along. I did go to a thing that Montana was running where you know, CZM has undertaken a study of the cove to see, you know, about flood resiliency. And they had people meet down at the cove, and it ended up going on much longer than I could stay, and you know, people starting to question CZM's assumptions. But you know, they had a stick at showing what the potential floodwaters could be in 2050 and 2070. But they will shortly be coming forward with recommendations about how to make the cove resilient, and it could be a combination of raising the seawalls, raising Elm Street, right, you know, Cove Road. So, you know, kind of, you know, dealing, not proposing that we move structures away from the coast, which might be the most logical thing to do, but to, you know, raise things up higher to deal with the coming, you know, potential flooding that's coming in the future. But I don't know, Amy, Tom was there too. I don't know if he stayed for the whole thing. I stayed for about
He
an hour.
did.
Yeah,
He
it was,
did.
you know, they
I
kind of walked
don't,
around. I don't think
don't-
there was anything earth shattering until CZM actually puts their recommendations on paper, which I understand will be coming forward for possible action in the fall. So,
I think that's a correct interpretation. I would just like to state publicly for those of us here, as well as people that might be listening, deep appreciation for the work that Tom Callahan, Cassandra Thayer, and other members of our board in getting us to the point where we are in the change of the zoning bylaw. It's been an incredible effort, and it's not an easy process, and lots of places don't succeed. But I just want to appreciate the folks who have spent the time, and in particular, Tom, to be the leader in moving this forward, along with someone like Clark, who's been on the board for a really long time, Cassandra, making sure that we actually say things that are exactly the way they should be said. So I appreciate it as a public official, the work that you've done.
appreciate it. And yes, Clark keeps me honest. So Clark is my
What's that, Tom? We couldn't
you're
hear you.
you're my restraint. You keep me honest during the process. Your comments and your input.
Is that good?
Yeah, it's no, that's one of the reasons why I suggested you be on the bylaw committee. But the bylaw committee, you know, again, we have to think about, is it going to be needed for the fall? Or just the last go around, it's kind of not I haven't scheduled any meetings. I'm not planning on scheduling any meetings probably for a bit, but, again, we can't make decisions, however, without meetings and votes. So it could be that I might just suggest to the select board, let it go, and then the planning board will be the promoting board for what comes in the fall to finish up. And again, it'll be about, depending on what issues we decide to tackle, it'll probably be another 7 articles at least to clean up what's left. I'm gonna defer to town council completely to write the mitigation and development impact bylaw. I'm a little stinging from the criticism of my first draft, which tended to incorporate materials from other towns, so I'm gonna let them do it. MAPC is dealing with what was Article 14, our floodplain, to comply with the new state model bylaw. And actually, our current bylaw is very, very close to the model bylaw. We must have looked at it at some point in the last 2 or 3 years. So that will be a fairly easy one. And wind and solar we'll deal with. And, the big issues we could possibly tackle are we going to change frontage in the cluster development bylaw? And/or are we going to convert to FAR? Those will be the 2 controversial ones, or 2 substantial ones. Everything else the remainder of it is still more housekeeping. So. Anyway.
Tom,
Yeah.
not to defer from the conversation about that, but you do have to officially continue 2632 Lambert's Lane to the 26th.
Oh, okay.
Just
Make a motion to continue the hearing for 26 Lambert's Lane common driveway application to, what is it,
June 26th.
June 26th at 6:30.
Second that.
Okay,
I can indicate at this point, I will not be present for that meeting.
Yeah, I
apparently.
think I have a ZBA meeting that night, but I might be able to make it.
Yeah. Apparently it's 4 lots, which meets our new common driveway limitations. I know if you saw what Cassandra distributed, the fire department had some comments that I hope those get forward. Anyway, without further ado on that motion, all in favor?
Mark Brewer, aye.
Tom Callahan, aye.
Amy Glassmeyer, aye.
Kevin Heine, aye.
Deirdre Hobson, I.
Aye. Anything else anyone wants to discuss? We have all this free time.
Motion to adjourn?
Okay. So I'll second that. I gotta get out of here.
Mark Brewer, aye.
Tom Callahan, aye.
Amy Glassmeyer, aye.
Kevin Heine, aye.
7 o'clock and no FedEx yet that I was supposed to get 4 hours ago.
Deidre was muted, but Tom talked over her. So.
That's all right.
Sorry.
All right.
We saw you go. We saw you go. Aye.
I'm sorry. All right. Thank you all for being
Good
here.
night.
See you
All
next
right,
Good
good
night,
night.
everyone. See you soon.
Night.